Hello, and welcome to the first chapter of our course on the fundamentals of card payment. This chapter is called The Big Picture, and we are going to discuss the high-level elements that characterize this industry. In this first video, we're going to talk about the actors in a payment transaction. Our story starts with a merchant. The merchant has goods to sell and accepts credit or debit cards as a means of payment. The next actor in our story is the customer. The customer comes into the shop and wants to purchase some of the goods. This is the basis for a transaction. Money, with the use of the debit or credit card, is exchanged for the goods that the customer wants to buy. The other side of the transaction is that prior to coming to the shop, the customer had established a relationship with the bank. And so the bank is the next actor in our story. By entering a relationship with the bank, our customer now becomes a cardholder. So we now have three actors in our story: a bank issuing a card, a cardholder, and a merchant. Now, we have established how the cardholder and the merchant interact. The next piece of the puzzle is that when the cardholder pays, the merchant needs to be in a position to retrieve the funds. Because the merchant might not know the bank, might not be in the same city, county, state, country, or even continent. So how, in this global picture, can the merchant retrieve the funds from the bank? This is when the fourth actor in our story comes into play, the acquirer. The role of the acquirer, when processing a transaction, is to be the link between the merchant and the payment networks. So, in effect, the acquirer will act as a switch between the merchant and each of the payment networks that are supported. Obviously, every acquirer supports many merchants, so they have a many-to-many relationship, which also introduces the fifth and final actor in our story, the payment networks. We are listing here the main international payment brands: Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, and JCB. But obviously, there are many more, including debit-only networks. So, what does a payment network do? Well, their job is to be the link between acquirers and banks. Because remember, at this stage, the transaction has only gone to our merchant's local acquirer. So if we go back to this concept of being a global picture, the payment network is the entity that truly brings it on a global scale. How do they do that? Well, they keep a global listing of all the member banks, and they can tell from the card number to which country and then to which bank a transaction needs to be routed to. Really, all the payment brand requires are the first 6 digits of the card number. This is called the BIN. So this is the big picture. The first actor is the cardholder bringing the card. The card is introduced in the merchant's payment terminal. Typically, the payment terminal will be connected to a till system or any kind of system that allows sending the transaction to the next entity, which is the acquirer. The acquirer knows from the card number where to route the transaction to. That transaction is sent to the payment network that the card was issued on. The payment network, again from the card number, sends the transaction to the bank that issued it in the first place. So the list of actors is card, merchant, acquirer, network, and issuer. You should also be aware that the full picture has been simplified. In some cases, the box that we named acquirer might contain several entities within it. Depending on the relationship that the merchant has with a terminal provider, a payment processor or integrator, or more generically a third party, might be inserted between the merchant and the acquirer. It is also worth knowing that the merchant or payment processor might have several relationships with various acquirers. But for the purpose of what we are learning in this course, we can ignore the complexity and stay with our 5-block picture. This concludes the first video in this first chapter. Thank you for watching it.